WWE could be planning a massive surprise for WrestleMania 40. Plus, we're going to talk about WrestleMania 41, and we're going to talk about some massive TNA news. It's coming up right here on the Ango Show. Ladies and gentlemen, don't forget we do got a giveaway at 100,000 subscribers, so click subscribe. Let's just jump right into it. Killer Kelly, what is going on with her? If you guys watch TNA, maybe you watch WWE NXT UK, you should be familiar with Killer Kelly at this point. There's been a lot of rumors that maybe Killer Kelly is leaving TNA. There's been tons of reports that suggest that she's finishing up with the company. Well, it appears that's not actually the case. It looks like Killer Kelly is just taking a break from TNA. The term finishing up, which is essentially what kind of stirred all of the speculation here, was basically misconstrued. Now Fightful Select reveals that she has merely taken a break from TNA and not actually finishing up with the company. And honestly, I'm like really glad about that, because Killer Kelly is a hell of a talent. To be honest, I think in today's climate of women's wrestling, with like the way AEW is starting to improve and WWE is starting to improve with their women's division and the women's booking, Killer Kelly is an example of somebody who would thrive as a singles star in either company. I mean, truth be told, I think the same could even be said for her tag team partner, Masha Slamovich, who is also a hell of a talent. And these are just two individuals where like they've come together and absolutely killed it in TNA. And just watching everything that they've done from Impact to TNA, it's just awesome, right? But Killer Kelly was always intriguing to me because she didn't really stay in WWE. She left WWE and she left. And, the thing is, like, I had seen her work, obviously, from the UK indie scene, but watching her on weekly television, it was kind of interesting to me to see that she was kind of, I don't know if saying the word fumbled is appropriate, but in a way it kind of seems like she was fumbled. So then what's cool is I saw TNA pick up the ball, and instead of just running for 10, 20 yards, they ran for touchdowns with Killer Kelly. So I'm glad that she's not leaving the company. Now, in terms of her taking a break, I'm sure it could be for a variety of reasons. There's a multitude of reasons why people take breaks, but as long as she's still with the company, that's great. Now, keep in mind that she does have a contract with TNA, and it appears that the contract is set until 2025. So I'm going to assume in this particular situation that she's going to finish out her contract, and then, in 2025, we'll see what happens. And if she re-signs with the company, that's amazing. If not, I would never hate on the opportunities that people get if it resulted in more money or more fame or whatever it may be. If you're not familiar with Killer Kelly, get familiar with Killer Kelly, because she is truly she's a hell of a talent, man. Really, really good talent. Let's talk about WrestleMania 41. There's obviously been a lot of talk about WrestleMania 41. We've talked about it before. The bidding really was between Minnesota, Las Vegas. Those really seem to be the big thing. But now it appears that WrestleMania 41 is, in fact, going to be the WrestleMania 41 official location. It's interesting because obviously there's just a lot of things that are being said about it. But multiple government officials have dropped hints suggesting the imminent announcement. While WWE officials have remained tight-lipped when questioned about WrestleMania's destination, influential figures within Minnesota have indicated that preparations are underway for the event. Governor Walz recently made a notable reference to WrestleMania during an event, highlighting the economic impact and excitement surrounding the potential hosting opportunity at US Bank Stadium. Look, I think it's cool, right? Minnesota Vikings having lost to the Lions so often, as a Detroiter, I think it's fantastic that something great will finally come down to the Minnesota Vikings stadium, right? But like, in all seriousness, I think WrestleMania being in Vegas would have been cool. I think the thing that you guys got to understand here, if we're looking for like actual analysis, no jokes, right? Las Vegas is a tourism city. WWE brings WrestleMania to Las Vegas. There's a million other things happening in Las Vegas. Whereas like WWE coming to Minnesota for WrestleMania, it solely makes WrestleMania the destination. So everything WWE related or wrestling related, I should say, will be a primary focus or target for people. Now, I've actually never been to Minnesota. I've always kind of wanted to go to Minnesota. And, WrestleMania 41 being in Minnesota would be kind of cool. How about WWE brings an NXT Stand and Deliver to the Mall of America. What is the likelihood of that? Probably very unlikely, but it would be cool to see WWE do some really interesting stuff there. But I like the idea of WWE just, constantly doing these stadium shows and looking at what WrestleMania has become. I think if you're somebody who lives in Minnesota, I think this is really exciting for you. I think if you are somebody who's traveling for WrestleMania, I think this is cool to go to a state where maybe I would have otherwise not gone to, if that makes sense. So that is something to keep in mind. Like, I don't know if I would ever go to Minnesota, but now that there would actually be a WrestleMania there, it kind of makes a lot of sense for me to go, right? And one of the things that I really do want to start doing now that I'm actually a couple years like into being a full-time creator is traveling more for wrestling events. So maybe by that time too, the channel will have already hit 100,000 subscribers and maybe even more. Who knows? But we could do a lot of cool things. I would like to go travel a lot more. Minnesota, while it might not be on everybody's list, for me, it would be cool to witness something there, and WWE is kind of the incentive to go, right? A massive event, which also means more indie shows, GCW, and so much more. And look, I just think that's a good thing. So ultimately, let's get excited about that. And that brings us to our final topic of today's video. WWE has something up their sleeve. This one is going to make fans of hip hop very excited because at WrestleMania 40, it appears that WWE is looking at bringing in Meek Mill to the event. Triple H actually took to social media. This is really cool. Meek Mill posted on Instagram, WrestleMania coming to Philly at Triple H. My sons want to come see me. And Meek Mill, obviously putting out this post. Triple H responds on his story. He says, I got you at Meek Mill. It's your city, and WWE is just coming to have some fun. Clearly, WWE's got something cooking. He also added on that post, clear your schedule. Look, I'm a fan of hip-hop music, but ultimately, at the end of the day, WrestleMania is a star-studded event. You have to wonder what it's going to be like with Meek Mill there. Wrestling fans and hip hop, it's an interesting crossover. Not everybody likes rap music. Not everybody likes hip hop. But I think at the same time, too, Meek Mill would have the energy going bonkers in that place. And I could honestly say, like, Meek Mill, Dreams and Nightmares, you got Cody Rhodes, Roman Reigns. Like, there's a lot of stuff you could use for, like, video packages and stuff. I was actually kind of shocked that they chose not to go with Meek Mill for the theme song because of the fact that The Weeknd constantly has the theme song every year. But Meek Mill is obviously from Philly. It kind of just made a lot of sense. So WWE is obviously cooking. They got something planned here. I'm excited to see what comes of it. I'll keep you guys updated along the way. Don't forget, click subscribe.